What do you believe right now that's making you feel this way? And when you analyse it, you realise how irrational you can be at times.
Every single one of our major customers and minor customers all shut their doors overnight.
It's not sales per se, but the outcome of it is, because people get to know you, they get to see you.
But, you know, what's the culture like at the business? What do we stand for, the values?
I've got to tick that box on my personal development programme I don't really want to be here.
Scaling up a business isn't easy. If it were, we wouldn't have less than 4% of businesses scaling beyond 10 employees or around £1 million turnover level, and less than 1% beyond 50 employees. But the contribution that we make as owner-managers to our economies is immense and should never be underestimated, yet it can be a tough gig for all of us at times, and only other business owners truly understand the challenges that we face. And through ScaleUp Radio, we aim to help make things a little easier. We interview guests who have been where you are now and may have faced some of the challenges that you are facing. And they offer their thoughts and advice on what has worked for them, as well as what didn't. And we've also combined many of the lessons from these interviews, and also through working with hundreds of owner managers over the last 10 years or so, into a practical scale-up handbook that we've called the Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System, or ESUS. And it's for owner managers like you and me as we navigate our own scale-up journey. And you can order a copy through your favourite online book retailer, or by going to all the W's, esusgroup.co.uk, www.esusgroup.co.uk. My guest today on ScaleUp Radio is such an unassuming young man. You can't fail to warm to him when you listen to him, and certainly I did very much as I talked with him. He was successful in being awarded the Startup Entrepreneur of the Year for Scotland and Northern Ireland, so he knows what he's doing. It's a young business, started up in 2020, and it's in the field of health and safety initially, anyway, but they've branched out a little bit since then, as you will hear. So today I talk with Ian Macphail, who runs the IDM Group, and it started as IDM Safety, and as I say, there's a few groups to it now, and he's the MD and Chief Visionary. And we have a really lovely conversation about all sorts of aspects. It's really clear that he is very passionate about his business, but it's really authentic about how he wants to deal with people, and he understands the privilege and the responsibility that he has as being the owner of the business, and the responsibility he has for his staff, but also that translates right the way through to his clients. So a lot of excellent advice here from somebody that's not been in business that long, but you'll hear that his family have got a long tradition in Scotland and in the Highlands of running businesses, and he's picked up a lot from his father and his grandfather, and some really excellent conversation to listen to. So let's go across and listen to what Ian has to say. Welcome to another episode of ScaleUp Radio. I'm here today with Ian Macphail, who is the MD and Chief Visionary of IDM Group. So Ian, welcome to ScaleUp Radio.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me along.
My pleasure. So IDM Group, what's that all about?
What's it all about? So when I first started in business, I started with IDM Safety Solutions, which was, or is, a health and safety consultancy, a management business with full trade support. And what that's all about is actually providing businesses with a full support package. So we don't just go in and tell them, well, you're doing this wrong or you're doing that wrong. It's about learning what they're trying to achieve as a business. We'll do the safety audits. We'll identify areas that might need a bit of work. And then what we can do off the back of that, we can actually provide clients with prices on, what needs to be done and how best to rectify it, giving them options and saying, right, look, we picked up, say, for example, your emergency lighting isn't up to standard. To upgrade it, it's going to be X amount. To repair what's there is going to be this much. Here's your options. you don't need to come with us, but at least they've got options then, and they've got an idea of the cost, so they can budget for it. And then if they choose to come with us, then we'll plan the work in and we'll carry it out, and then we reissue the certificates and that. So with the full trade support, my kind of background is I trained as an electrician. I then worked for various companies. The last company I was with, I worked my way up from being an electrician with them to doing estimating business development. And then for 4.5 years, I was doing kind of project and contracts management with them. Mm-hmm. During that time, I put myself through my NEBOSH qualifications as well. Right. To try and bring probably a bit of reality into the industry. You know, a bit of a bit of practicality, because quite often what I found and other people that I worked with found was that safety folk would come along and quite often there wouldn't be any consideration given to the practicality of the task. Okay. So the kind of the bigger picture thinking sounds a bit stupid, but it's actually being aware of all the elements involved in the task that's been carried out at the time, mm-hmm. and bringing that into consideration when you're making your reports and that.
Is that one of the things that you think makes you different, that enables you to see it almost from the point of view as the practicalities of what actually needs to be done because of your experience with the trades?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, my trade experience goes back to kind of childhood. My father and my grandfather, they had a construction business back up in the Isle of Lewis. Right. My grandfather started it in 1972, and then my father took it over when my grandfather then went and built and opened a factory making polystyrene boxes for fish. So I've been around kind of construction industry from forever. And back in these days, you could get taken out to site when you are small because you could fit into small, tight spaces, you know?
Yeah, wouldn't it pass health and safety?
Not nowadays, definitely not. But yeah, you had that kind of... So I've had that experience, and that's been ingrained into me my whole kind of life, you know? And working with different trades in different industries, it gives you just a broader outlook on things and how different elements work, how they come together, and how different people at different levels of organizations think and work. And what we try to do is bring it together so that everybody understands, because it's really important to educate people so that they have an understanding as individuals on how working safely and maybe doing things slightly differently can actually make the workplace a better place, makes it a happier place. If you go to your work happy, you're not mistreated, you're not bad used, you don't get injured, you don't become sick. Mm-hmm. Then you go home happy. And then if you're at home and you're happy, it's like a positive kind of spiral upwards
seeing health and safety as this whole employee engagement side of things, really, not just about the aspect of are you safe.
Well, exactly. You need your team will either break you or make you. And if you're not looking after the people that work with you to get to where you need to go or want to go and take them on the journey with you, then they're going to it's not going to work. And by educating people and empowering the whole team and everybody in the team, it works so much better. There's a lot less issues and everybody's on side.
Yeah, so I'll definitely come into some of the lessons you've learned about the team side of things. It'd be good to explore that. So you started with the safety aspect in sort of 2020, I believe. Yeah. 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 And you've now got to the point. What stage are you at the business now? You got a group. You've got a couple of other divisions, essentially, a couple of other within it. So what stage are you at now with the business?
Yeah, so with the trade element, we do business-to-business maintenance, reactive planned. We do project work as well. We can act as a main contractor So that's gotten really, really busy. And some clients were getting a bit confused. Safety, trade, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
So we made the decision to create different branches. So I created IDM Group Scotland, which is the holding company essentially. Then we've got IDM Safety Solutions, which will predominantly concentrate on the health and safety element.
Yeah.
IDM Energy, which is our traditional and renewable trade business.
Okay.
So that's the kind of the electrical work, joinery work, plumbing. You know, we've got our own tradespeople. We've got a really tight-knit, trusted network of subcontractors that we work with as well. We've also just gained our MCS accreditation for solar PV and air source heat pumps as well.
Very good.
So we're just kind of starting to break into that. And then IDM Heb is for the work that we're doing in the Outer Hebrides off the west coast of Scotland. I kind of follow up from my dad and my grandma's business up there.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Very good. So, so how many people does that mean you've got now within the business?
So there's 12 of us all together now.
Okay.
There's myself, our ops director Kyle. I then have Bruce. He just came as a general manager in December there to kind of help manage a team, work with a team, but also to create that bit of space when I need to kind of direct the business and go where we want to go and take it where we need to go with as much support as we can, really. We've got Lauren. She's our technical assistant in the office, so she's going to go and have her first baby in May.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations, Laura.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely delighted for her. We've got Stuart, who's an electrician, and Callum. Scott's currently with us as well. And then we've got my brother Paul. He's a joiner that works for us. He's based up on the Isle of Lewis all the time.
Right.
Who else?
So that must present a challenge or two, having somebody that's separated and up on the Isle of Lewis.
It can, but one of the things I implemented at the very beginning was having the right systems in place.
Okay.
To help manage the jobs, so the guys and girls, they know what they're doing, what's expected. We're getting good quality job reports back from folk. And it helps, it kind of feeds into the timesheets and everything as well, and hooks into the accounting system. So that's...
Is that
really
something
important.
you developed, or is that something that you bought as a package?
It's something we've bought as a package. We started with one, and we're actually in the process of moving over to a new system just now that uses a bit of AI to kind of help pull things together. It'll do the route plans, so it's more efficient as well.
Okay.
So it's helping us cut down our carbon footprint through using technology and kind of using that technology to kind of plan out the routes, the job routes and that.
Right.
Because, I mean, the area we cover is huge.
Yeah. And so what sort of challenges does that present? I mean, I imagine based up in Scotland, and certainly if you're going up to the Isle of Lewis as well, then, you know, that the geography itself must present some specific challenges for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're averaging, each vehicle's averaging about 500-600 miles a week just now.
Wow.
And we've got seven vehicles on the road.
Yeah.
So it's challenging is right, but the payoff is, I mean, the scenery's spectacular. Mm-hmm. You know, it's absolutely stunning. The where we work is just phenomenal. You get it makes the drive enjoyable.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sure. And what sort of businesses do you look after?
So we look after most of our kind of safety clients are construction businesses. Mm-hmm. For construction businesses, we work with some manufacturing businesses, events and hospitality as well. So with a mixed bag. I mean, with our trade element, with energy, we're looking after a lot of national companies' premises. So we've got framework agreements in place where they'll, if they have a 2, 4, 6 hour emergency, a same day or a next day, or so we're used to working to kind of quite tight KPIs and SLAs to go and deliver for our clients and make sure that they're getting the best service that they can.
Yep.
And giving them the value. It's one of our kind of key things is, it's being transparent with our clients. So they know what we're doing. We keep them up to date with exactly what we're doing, what we found, what we think the best way forward is. And like I said before, it's about giving the options so they can make an informed decision as to how they wish to proceed, and just kind of keeping that trustworthiness, that kind of transparency, being open and honest with them, even if it's we're not scared, but we're not afraid to tell them what they might not want to hear as well, but not being kind of arrogant about it.
Right. Yeah.
Just saying, I know you want to try and get done this way, but it can't be done because of ABC. However, we can do this, this, and this to try and get it to that point. Are you happy with that, or not, or would you like to review it with someone else or whatever? Yeah. So it's the way I see it, it's a lot of, it's long-term thinking. We're here for the long term. We're not here to make a quick buck and then dash away and vanish into the kind of moonlight.
And you were successful in the Great British Entrepreneur Awards, weren't you? Not only were you shortlisted, but I believe you won your category of Startup Entrepreneur Scotland and Northern Ireland. So, yeah, well done, first of all, on that. And what do you think attributed to your success there? What sort of things do you think that they were noticing and recognizing?
I'm not sure. I think I didn't even expect to get shortlisted. Yeah, alone kind of win the category. I mean, that was just. I still think that's nuts. Because I remember doing the application and thinking these questions. I mean, you've got companies out there that'll do all these applications for you and everything. Yeah. And you can spend hours and hours prepping for it and doing this and doing that. And it came to doing it, and I thought, you know what? If I can't answer these questions as me, as the business founder, and I have to do this and that and the next thing, then I don't really deserve to enter it. Right. So it was a case of, just be yourself, be open, be honest about the business, about your experience, answer the questions as if you're having a conversation. Yeah. And that's what I did.
Very good.
And I can't remember what the question was, but one of the questions, it was about... I can't remember. I thought it was quite a stupid question, if I'm totally honest with you. I was saying, how do you answer this? I was like, the best way to describe how I feel about what I'm doing is I truly believe that I've found my calling. It's like, right. When you found something like, yes, this is exactly what I should be doing. And it is so invigorating and exhilarating at the same time, and it's like I found that doing what I'm doing just now.
And that quite probably is what came through with your entry. Then you say you can pay people to write your entries for you, but maybe that puts a layer of sort of vanillaizes it a little bit. Whereas by the sounds of it, what probably came through with your application was that genuine passion for what you're doing and that authenticity. So maybe that's a part of it. But no, well, very, very well done. So what is it that you love about what you do then?
It's just so good. I think the best feeling, one of the best feelings, let's say, because I'm sure there's other ones, but is actually being able to create opportunities for people,
Right.
and give them, kind of create opportunities for folks so that they've got, their career prospects. I mean, the Highlands and Islands is really quite rural, so there aren't the same amount of opportunities as there are in other places.
Yeah.
And to be able to create these opportunities in the region and help retain people so that they have a choice to actually stay, work, and have career progression within the region is really quite. It's a real kind of driving force behind what we do, and why we do it.
Brilliant.
I mean, one of the things my grandfather was always big on with his business and getting across was, you're very, very privileged to be able to create work for people so that they can provide for their families. And it's all, for us, it's about providing a good, stable workplace whereby people can better themselves. So we look after, you look after the people you work with, because we're all in it together, and that's to provide a better lifestyle for ourselves and our loved ones. And we spend such a huge proportion of our time at work. Most of our living life is working.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be a terrible experience. It should be enjoyable. It should be somewhere you want to go to, and it shouldn't be terrible. And actually being able to facilitate something like that is just, it's like, I suppose we're always told you can't do this and you can't do that. It has to be done this way. You've got to do it this way. If you're at a certain level, you need to dress a certain way, you need to behave a certain way. But why do we have to do that?
Right.
Why? And it's why don't we try doing it this way? Oh, you can't do that. Why not? Let's just try it, see how we get on. If it works, it works. And it's kind of thinking differently about old things, I suppose, and trying to implement a new way of doing old things, whereby people aren't under the same pressures. We're still delivering. We're delivering better than some other folk. If we weren't, we wouldn't be where we are. But it's about creating that environment for our people to be able to to do that, to deliver that for us, with us, and smash it out together.
Yeah, so they can flourish. Great. So let's get into that now then. So what sort of things do you do then, specifically around the people side of the business that makes it such a great place to be? I
like to involve the team in a lot of what we do. We have regular kind of catch-ups. I like to phone round in the mornings, kind of get the crack when they're driving to jobs, and kind of see how they're getting on and what's happening. We've got a real kind of sense of team, of kind of community, and creating. I mean, we're still relatively young. We're still growing. But like I said earlier on about implementing the systems is really, really important for the business, but also investing in your people is, give more holidays than the kind of the standard norm. Pay above the kind of, the average wage. We've introduced, we're giving kind of private health, dental and optical cover to everyone. There's no, we've gone for the no excess option. So, the guys and girls don't have to pay the excess if they have to put a claim in. We've introduced the likes of duvet days. So,
right.
Sometimes when you wake up and you just cannot be bothered.
Yeah.
Might be a wee bit rough, or it's an amazing day. All your pals are going to the beach, and you're going, "Oh, I'm going to work," and then you bunk off. So we've introduced these legalized sickies, essentially.
Yeah.
So no questions asked. Can't be bothered. Pick up the phone. I'm having a duvet day. Right? No bother. On you go. Do what you need to do. Kind of wee things like that. Just
so tell me. Okay, I was waiting to see if you went and explored that a bit further. So I bet there's people, listening, and me included, going, "Oh, why don't people just call in every day then and say, well, what to do with it? What do you? How do you police that? Or what's the?
you get 2 a year.
You get 2 a year, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got to use them. We use them wisely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an acknowledgement of that. These times where you just can't be bothered, you just totally flat off for whatever reason.
Yeah. And
some people don't find it hard to pick up the phone. I've got a cough. Aye, right. But some people genuinely do, and if there are reasons that there's maybe something going on they don't want to talk about, or they don't want to get into, there's the opportunity there for them to pick up the phone without having to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And create that kind of just a bit of kind of support in a way as well, I suppose, if it's needed. So it's worked pretty well so far for us.
Yeah. Very good. So how do you what sort of things do you do to with the culture of the business, to create that real environment? It sounds like you've got people really engaged, working together. You're involving them in some of the decision making, which is a big part of it. What sort of other things are you doing to really encourage that?
So we introduced our kind of core values, our mission and our vision statement stuff a few months ago.
Yeah.
And
so tell me look, sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
But of all the industries that I imagine you might get pushback from, what are these core values, right? Construction and your kind of industry, working construction, might be one of them. So tell me how that went when you said we're gonna sit down and do our core values.
We involved the whole team.
Right.
And said, right, and everybody was absolutely buzzing about it.
Okay, brilliant.
Because they're getting, it's like, you're not just using people to gain yourself. It's, we're in it together. So what does IDM mean to you? What does what you do and what we do mean to you? What's it all about for you? And it was a morning really well spent, really, really well spent. So everybody put down kind of different values that meant different things to them.
Yeah.
And we then sat down and we reviewed it all, and it's like, well, that fits. And how do we kind of whittle it down to basically the key elements that covers most things for everyone, and resonates with us as directors, myself as a founder, and that's what we did, and it's really big difference, really big positive difference in the team.
So what sort of things did what came out of that day then?
So we set our kind of core values, which I've got here. So, number one is to empower people, to inspire and own it. Number two is kind of balance in our work and in our lives. Our team's able to demonstrate an adaptable approach and deliver great results because we implement the importance of a good work-life balance and take intentional time to have fun together as a team.
Right.
Transparency, so open, honest communication in everything with everyone. We believe in operating in a way that is easy for everyone to see what actions are performed. We act in openness, communication, and accountability. Our team have a desire to share what they know and are willing to speak their minds and have a genuine desire to help others learn from what they know. So, that kind of is a common thread throughout the whole team and what we do. Standards. So standards impacting the lives of everyone. We believe that our standards define quality and provide recognised solutions for the protection of consumers' health, safety and the environment. We ensure this by demonstrating efficiency, mitigating risks, consistency and customer confidence. Innovation, so it's your business, your space, our solutions, and we're creating together. We believe that by fostering innovation, we foster growth. We challenge the norm and assumptions. We create and anticipate change. We encourage ideas, making it safe to bring ideas forward. We create and do not compete. And then it's all underpinned by trust, building trust every time with every relationship, with everyone. We believe that trust is at the heart and core in everything that we do. We follow through on what we say we will do, and when we say we will do it, we earn the trust of our customers, employees, and extended family through transparency, security, compliance, and performance. And we deliver the industry's most trusted service, acting as trusted advisors.
Great.
So that's a lot of what came out of it, you know.
I love that. I love the fact as well that you haven't just got the 6 key words. You've got a little sentence to explain each one of those. How are you making those live now that you've got those and everybody's committed to those and they've been involved in defining what they are? How do you live them? How do you make sure that everybody is?
I suppose it's come from how people were behaving when they joined us. Okay. And it's just pulling that together. And it's saying, right, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is why we do it. And the guys take a lot of pride in delivering that and showing people that that's who we are, that we're part of the same team, we're all doing the same thing. And I mean, we have, they've all got access, we get good crack together, we got good banter going. But also when somebody needs to come to you in confidence about something, then you listen to them. You can you can provide that support as well. And just I don't know, is that just not how it should be?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And if I'm paraphrasing a little bit here as well, it sounds like because the team understand that so well, it may not be that they may be calling themselves out on each other rather than necessarily kind of relying on you to enforce those core values, because they understand them so well and live by them, that they're helping each other to live by them.
Yeah, and I mean, there have been a couple of times whereby something's come in, customers ask a question about a job, you've gone up to look at it, I kind of look at it and think, what the heck is this? It's not how I would have done it. I'm not happy with how that's been done. And what I tend to do is, I was getting quite annoyed with an individual, and I took a photo of it and I put it into the group chat with everyone. I was like, right, this isn't how I expect things to be done. This isn't how I see us operating. Who put this in this way and why? And can you come back to me, please? So it was a bit of a calling somebody out.
Yeah.
In front of everyone. I'm putting, saying, right, you can't hide behind this. This isn't on. And off the back of that, the guys have set up their own kind of chat So if there's anything that they think's maybe not quite right, they fire it about themselves to make sure that it gets rectified so it doesn't become an issue. So like you're saying there, the self-policing thing, that's really worked very, very well with the team.
Nice.
And they're just really, really impressed with everyone and how they behave and how they get things done, you know?
Yeah. Very good. Okay, so you've been in business for what are we talking? Pretty much 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years. So what sort of things have and you've obviously been involved in, sounds like your parents and your grandparents, you've got a long history of running businesses. So what surprised you about running your own business?
What surprised me the most was actually the customer's confidence in my ability to deliver for them, I suppose. And, you know, other things that surprised me was nowhere near to knowing everything, but how much of certain things I knew just naturally through spending time with, you know, my grandfather, my father. I've been involved in a music festival back home in Lewis this will be my 21st year. Been involved with it.
Right.
It's been on the go for 27. I started when I was 14 as a volunteer steward, and last, 6 years I've been on the board of directors, and I kind of manage the sites, oversee all the infrastructure stuff and that as well.
Right.
And I think that's had a lot to do with being able to make decisions, because you've got to be open. You're on site the Thursday before the festival starts. You have to have the gates open for 6:30, otherwise you've got 5,000-6,000 people standing outside with nowhere to go. So the pressure's really quite high. It's very exciting, but it is high pressure. But you have to think quick, make decisions based on what you know, what you've been taught, and make the right decisions so that the event comes off. And then as things arise and things happen, then, you know, when you're sitting in event control, you're the kind of, you know, the buck essentially stops with the board of directors. But when the site's open, you know, as the site manager and the safety manager, you're sitting at the top of the decision-making tree. So you have to make these decisions that, you know, if you make the wrong one, it can be
right.
It can be a lot of noise.
Yeah.
You know, so that, I think that's really helped a lot of the decision-making element for the business. I've introduced a lot of that into how we operate and what we kind of do as well.
So what sort of things? Because from what you were describing, I was imagining you got used to dealing under pressure and making a decision under pressure. So how do you apply that then into the business to make better decisions?
You've got more time to look at it, because the same time constraints aren't often there. They can be there sometimes. You know, you've got a job comes in, you go to bed, you fall asleep, 10 to 2 in the morning, the phone rings, it's one of our kind of clients. It's absolutely bucketing with rain. It's like biblical rain. And you think, oh, why did I go to sleep? I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And the ceilings come down in the showroom. Oh. Can you go down? So, oh, for flop's sakes. Okay, I'll go. So up, dressed, away down the road, and walked into the showroom, and the ceiling was collapsing. There was water pouring in multiple places. The electrics were kind of arcing and sparking, and it's like a scene out of a horror film, you know, one of these disaster movies.
Yeah.
And
Bruce Willis breaks through the door any moment. Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of like, oh my goodness. So it's like, right, there's lots of different wee elements we need to address at the same time because they have the same impact on our client site. So first thing is kind of mobilising another director to come in, getting him to phone round our guys to kind of get them up and kind of mobilise the guys to come in, whilst I'm liaising with the client to check on other sites in Inverness. And then liaising with some subcontractors to come in with the kind of wet vacs and stuff. And then, right, you have to, because you don't want to be there for hours and hours and hours and hours. We need to just kind of get it done right. Let's get a system in place, kill the power just now, test some of the socket circuits, bring some sockets on so we can start using wet vacs. Disconnect the things that are saturated and unsafe. And then we can start getting some lights on and stuff throughout the building so we can see what we're doing mostly. And I mean, that went on, that was, like I said, just 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were there till 6 o'clock the following evening to get the showroom to a standard and safe so that they could kind of start trying to operate again. And then obviously the reinstatement works off the back of it. And then once the team are underway, kind of going, it was a case of going around some of the clients' other sites to check on them and then do kind of audit reports and fire them back to them at 3, 4 in the morning.
Right.
And then when the branches opened, because they weren't as badly affected as this one, it was a case of kind of divvying people up to go in and tidy it up and get it sorted for them.
So did you already have, or did that lead to almost a disaster recovery plan? Did you have something like that in place then?
No, we had not at all. I mean, it was just a case of the proverbial hit the fan for the client and the phone, and it's like, yeah, well, we said we're going to say that we support you, whether it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, we're going to be there. And not one grumble from any of the guys. Everybody, yeah, right, we'll be there.
Yeah, brilliant.
Waking everyone up and just that kind of pulling together. And then I think it might have been the promise of a fry up once the cafe opened. I got them out, but we'll never know.
Oh, well, if that's all it took.
That's it. That's not bad.
Yeah, brilliant. Good. All right. So, where do you see the business being in 5 years' time? If we're sat here in 5 years having another interview, maybe you've won not just startup business of the year, but you've won scale up business of the year or something like that. But what's the what does good look like for you in 5 years' time?
5 years' time. So one of the things I did when I started was I put like a bit of a 10-year plan together. Yeah. Okay. Where I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. So we won't be far off there in 5 years' time. Yeah. I mean, one of the things I suppose, kind of going back to the lessons and that, one of the, it's not really a negative lesson. I think it's just the lesson that nobody really talks about too much is funding for growth and for scale up.
Yeah.
And you know, there are accelerator programs and everything available, which are good, but it's like growing businesses, and young growing businesses often just need cold hard cash to finance that growth, whether that be by overdrafts or revolving credit facilities or whatever it may be to kind of help get there, get it to the next stage. And that's not readily available, I've found.
Right.
It's like, oh, we'll put you on this course, and it's like, thanks, but I don't have time to go on a course. You know, we're a growing business. We're trading. We have to be available to react, and not just react, but also to carry on the planned work to that growth, that kind of farming things up and putting systems in place and kind of getting everything done that we need to do. And that's kind of another reason that I set up the group business was I want to get to the stage, or I will get to the stage whereby, the other businesses feed into group and we build up our own fund that we can either invest in our own businesses or support other businesses that are growing, and just try and do away with a lot of that, do away with a lot of the barriers and hurdles that trip so many people up.
Yeah. Nice.
And just,
very good.
blasé, but it's.
No,
I think
that's a very it's a great goal to have. Yeah.
It's kind of grow the other businesses up to 70, 80 plus employees. We've got a vision to kind of take some of our services global as well.
Okay.
So look at developing either new technology or using our existing people in business to service our clients abroad if they need it, and become kind of real leading experts in the fields that we work in, so that we can do that and deliver that.
Very good. And very good. And have you got a plan as to how you go about doing that?
It's steady growth.
Growing
the business, talking to people, connecting with people. I think that's a really important thing. Is go out and talk to people. Put your face there. Have these conversations with folk, because people buy off people, and if they don't know you, they haven't seen you, they haven't heard you, and you're finding out, I don't know, Facebook adverts or loads of different things without that connection. Yeah, it will help you, and it'll get you somewhere, but I think real growth comes from real connections and actually meeting with people and talking to people and spending time with folk.
Yeah, very good.
Taking them biscuits and tea and stuff.
and the occasional fry up. Yeah.
Exactly. Some Stornoway black pudding. That's it. That's the kind of key.
Yeah. So you mentioned cash at the beginning. What's your biggest challenge, do you think?
I think the biggest challenge is trying to fund the growth. I mean, we are currently where we're at just now. I've kind of grown the business up to the last few months kind of turnover. We're forecasting just over 1.2 million in our third year, and that's all. I've got to where I am just now with no funding. No it's all organic growth. But to take it the next step, it's like we need to try. It's time to access funding to do that. We've done all the forecasting and that, but we've not been trading long enough for a lot of the banks to give even overdrafts or whatever to the value that we need for our safety blanket, which is, it's not making it impossible. It's just making it a wee bit slower. So I think that is one of the biggest challenges, is can I get access to that to kind of help facilitate the growth.
And are you? How does the business model work? Is it largely? I mean, I guess it differs according to which of the divisions you're talking about. Is some of it kind of retainer type model? Others a bit more ad hoc, depending on the works that they're doing. How does the business model work?
Yeah, so we've got clients that are on retainers. A lot of the work we do is based on framework agreements. So you've got your SLAs.
Yeah.
The kind of the KPIs they measure you against and that. And the more work you do to a better standard and actually complete, then the more work you get back as well. And that helps. That obviously you build your trust with the client as well, so that the client trusts you to your ability to deliver. With the MCS work as well, with the solar panels and the air source heat pumps and that, what we'll be doing is we'll work out service plans as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not just going to fit and go.
Yeah.
We'll give that support, after sales support, that kind of maintenance and servicing support as well, and we'll what we'll do with that'll be a pay monthly plan.
Yeah.
Split over a year or 2 years, paid by direct debit. So it's not a one-hit thing. It builds a bit of recurring revenue into the business as well.
Yeah. Excellent. Very good. Good. So are you up for a few quick fire sort of questions?
Yeah, go for it.
As we bring it to a close. So if you were to go back, you're already young. The question here is, if you were to go back to your younger self, what advice would it be? But yeah. So
what advice would it be?
Yeah.
It would be, don't worry about the trouble you're getting into, because it's going to shape your future.
Nice. Very good. Excellent. Any books, podcasts, other resources that you turn to, would recommend others to have a look at?
The E-Myth.
The E-Myth, okay.
That was
Michael
really
Gerber. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. How to Wreck Your Business by Stuart Mason.
Okay.
That's very, very insightful. And his story as well is amazing. He had huge big business doing really, really well, and because he wasn't paying attention to some of the smaller things, he lost it all on his 20th birthday. So he's written a book to tell people and warn people of the pitfalls that he faced, and how to avoid them. It's been really good. What else?
Well, that's too good.
Eat That Frog.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. That's probably one of my favourite ones. Really
brilliant. Good. Any what apps or bits of software do you rely on, or have you found excellent?
LinkedIn is really good for us. I really like it. Software, we're just moving on to JobLogic for our kind of job management software, and that is really, really liking how that works. Okay. So definitely highly recommend that.
Brilliant. Very good. And what works for you in terms of finding new customers? What's your best way?
Best way is picking up the phone.
Right.
And kind of getting a list. I mean, the majority of our business just now has been through previous connections that I've made, and they've either moved from one company to another, and they've kind of said, right, give Ian a phone. If you've got an issue there, just give Ian a phone. He'll get it sorted for you. Don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
That's been probably the biggest thing we've done. We're looking to start kind of marketing relatively soon. Put a marketing plan together and kind of get stuck into that and see what comes off the back of it.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And who would you say has had the most influence on you?
My grandfather, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, just phenomenal kind of man. It was all about doing things for the right reasons, and I think he would go and do things. He would get it done, and I remember turning around to me when I was younger. He just went and he did something, and he turned around and says, "Sometimes you're better to ask for forgiveness than wait for permission." Just remember that. Okay. But we're all taught, we're all educated. We know right from wrong. And as long as what you're doing is not hurting anybody or putting anybody down or taking away from folk, then why not do it? Yeah,
no, your grandfather sounds like a great guy. And what you were saying as well, it was him, I think you were saying, said that that remember it's your privilege to be to be able to find work for other people, to look after their families, sort of to support their families. So great, excellent. I've really enjoyed talking with you, and it's been Fantastic. I think I can understand what some of the judges might have seen in your application. So congratulations again on that award. And if people would like to get hold of you or find out more about IDM, what's the best way for them to do that?
Best way to do that is send me an email. It's Ian with 2 I's, IAIN, like the face, at idmgroup.scot. Or give me a phone. I'll give you the office number, which is 01463 213 480, and give us a shout.
Brilliant. Ian, thank you very much indeed for being my guest today.
No worries, Kevin. Thank you very much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that discussion, and if you're building and scaling your own business, you might well be interested in our book, The Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a practical handbook around scaling a business in a structured way. And you can order a copy on all your favorite online retailers, including an audio version, or you can find it and other supporting resources on our website, www.esusgroup.co.uk. That's esusgroup.co.uk, which is esusgroup.co.uk.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.